Hey, what's going on? Welcome back to the Snowbike channel. Today we're going to be discussing the Avalanche bags that we use, and in the last few years there's been a huge transition from canister bags that use compressed air to fill the Avi bag to an electronic fan. And I think soon are going to be gone are the days of canisters. Anybody that's had them for long enough has known some of the shortcomings with canisters. If you accidentally deploy your bag in the field, which we all do at some point, it's just a chore to have to go and buy the little brass rupture discs and go to somewhere that fills the canisters. And once you pull the bag once, it's a one and done deal. And the advantage of the fan bags is that if you accidentally deploy your bag, you just simply restuff it. And these are good for multiple deployments. You can get 4 or 5 deployments out of these. And so yeah, they have just come a long ways in the tech and price points. They're close. The electronic fan bags are a little bit more expensive, but in my opinion, generally worth the extra money. One other advantage with these is you can fly. You can take them on airplanes, whereas the canister bags, having compressed air, you can't fly with that. Some other advantages with the fan bags is that these will continue to inflate even if they're punctured. And so if you are sliding down the mountain and you puncture the bag, the fan is going to continue to deliver air and keep that bag inflated as best as it can. Some of the other cool tech that's built into these is they're programmed to self-deflate, and that is to help give you more breathing room if you are covered in snow. And so after I think 2 or 3 minutes of it inflating, it changes and actually auto deflates and sucks the bag back up, and it might give you just enough headroom and pocket room in there to move your arms, breathe, and get a little bit of air. And so these are all kind of tech designs and industry changes to try and help save your life. And I mean, at the end of the day, that's what this is all about. I'll go over some of the differences between 2 different bags. Right now I'm wearing the Pieps BT Jetforce, and I've worn this bag now for a couple of years. It's been awesome. I've also got a Klim Atlas bag that I'm charging right now, and I'll discuss the differences between the 2 bags and give you my thoughts on both. Klim uses the Alpride bag system, and they have some cool tricks up their sleeve, namely the ability to add AA batteries to quickly charge up the system. It uses the capacitor and allows the system to charge on AA batteries. And the Jetforce bag that I'm wearing now is different. It doesn't have that ability to use batteries. Instead, you charge it at home, and it's good for 4 or 5 deployments. And one other advantage I didn't discuss before with the electronic fan bags is that you can practice and train with these at home and just get familiar with where your trigger's at, and you don't have to be afraid of pulling your bag once in a while just to test it. And so again, these are all just kind of selling points that I think really warrants the attention towards electronic fan bags compared to the canister bags. And so I'll go over the setup on mine. This one I have set up, you can change where the location of your trigger is. You can have it on this shoulder or this shoulder. Personally, I like to keep it on my right shoulder so that I can grab it with my left hand. And that's important because in the event that you see a slide and you're riding your snow bike, I like to be able to keep my hand on the throttle and keep the bike moving, and then with my other hand be able to pull and deploy my Avi bag. That's personal preference, but when you think about that situation unfolding where you need to deploy the bag, it's a split-second decision, and you don't want to have to stop your bike and switch hands, or take your hand off the throttle and have the bike slow down and stumble. And so I keep my radio on this side, on the left side, and I also set up my radio's antenna, I don't know if you can see that, so that the tip of the antenna is sticking up. You know, if you have your radio buried down into the bag, it'll still work, but you lose some of that range, and when you're in the thick trees, you know, every little bit counts, and so you're trying to give yourself the best opportunity to reach your buddies. So with that, I'll take the bag off. I'll discuss, you know, some of the things that this bag has. Again, with the top here, I've got the antenna sticking out, and what I like to do is take a small carabiner and actually use the carabiner to join the two zippers. I've had a couple times now where my radio likes to bounce those two zippers open, and so I just use a small carabiner to join these two zippers together so that they stay closed and you don't lose any gear. So with that, we'll open this up. Got the radio. I've got my headlamp. I also like to carry my belt in the bag, and hopefully you can see that, but the belt just fits really nice inside of this spot. It's not forcing the belt to have any kind of unnatural bend to it. It stays nice and dry, and there's still a nice pocket in there to add various things. I have my headlamp in there. I've also got my first aid. The first aid I like to keep in my bag, and I keep it in a Ziploc just to keep things dry. And then inside here, an old Gatorade, my battery jump pack. Battery jump pack I like to sometimes keep on the bike. Little camera stick, and that's basically it inside of the bag. Now I'll open up this compartment up top here, and this up here is a spot for your goggles, or you could put some snacks, something like that in there. Probably fit a hat in there if you wanted, extra gloves. And then I'm trying to do this one-handed. And then you open up the main compartment and you have access to your probe, shovel, and any other gear that you want to put in there. So overall, this has been a really great bag. I really like it. I've used it now for the last couple of years, and it's treated me really well. It's given me a lot more confidence to you know, deploy the bag once in a while. Every season I like to give it a fresh charge, go through it, look it over, make sure there's nothing wrong with the bag. And then also Pieps occasionally has software updates, and they just recently had one, and I'm not sure exactly what the new firmware entailed, but I went ahead and did the update. And what that looks like is you download the Pieps app to your phone, and then once you've done that, they're pretty good about notifying you and letting you know that there's some new updates available for your backpack. And you'll search for the new software or firmware and download it, and you'll pair it to your backpack. There's a Bluetooth pairing technique. You press the trigger button 5 times, and that prompts it to use the Bluetooth or search for Bluetooth devices. And at that point, you connect to your phone, and then your phone will prompt you to initiate the download for the update. And that's stuff that you want to do early in the season, before the season starts, just to make sure that you're getting the best out there. You know, I think what's happening is the industry is changing some of those auto deflation features to hone in on better ways to keep you alive. And so, each year, as they get more and more statistics back, looking at avalanche safety, we're constantly learning. And so that process is going to evolve, and during that time, the ability to incorporate that into your backpack is really important. So there's some pretty smart features to these bags, and they're all a little bit different. One thing I didn't discuss yet on the Pieps bag, on this Pieps Jetforce BT bag, this outer shell right here can come off, and this is the size 25 liter. They make a 10 liter and a 35 liter, and they're replaceable, and so you can interchange between them depending on the storage that you need. And so like if I'm going on a big long ride and I want to carry some extra layers, then I can bring that 35 and I can stuff an extra jacket in there, gloves, hat, food, things of that nature. And if I'm going out for a short ride near the house and it's just for a couple hours, I might unzip it and throw that 10 liter on, and that's just a real nice, tight, smaller bag. And so you've got options there for storage. So once the Klim Atlas bag is finished charging, it takes 5 to 6 hours. I will do a review on this as well. And again, spoiler alert, this one has some unique features that the Pieps bag does not have. And it's a really quality product. And I think once you see some of these features, you know, one of these bags will probably suit your needs nicely. And so between the Klim bag and the Pieps bag, I think both of these are kind of the top tier avalanche bag systems out there. There's a lot of others. You know, BCA now is actually introducing their own version of the electronic fan bags, and I think BCA is realizing that gone are the days of canisters. And so I think we're in a transition moment here now where people are realizing that and beginning to swap their bags out. So yeah, once this is done charging, I'll return back and then I'll go over some of the features of the Klim Atlas 14. Okay, I'll go over how to turn the bag on. One thing that I'll say is that for the Klim bags, it's a little bit more difficult to turn this on than the Pieps. The Pieps, the on-off mechanism is right on the trigger, and you just simply hold down the red button on the trigger, and after I think 5 seconds it turns on. So it's a little bit more convenient. The Klim bag, to turn it on, you do have to open up the main compartment. And I'll take you with me here. And down here is a, up here is a zipper. Open that. And right now it's actually already on. You can see the battery is fully charged. And then over here on the status indicator, there's a green flashing light. To turn it off, pull it out, spin. You'll hear it prime the fan one time. And then to turn it on, you do the same thing. You pull it out, quarter twist. And then you'll hear the fan audibly prime 2 times. And once that's on, let's go ahead and close up this pouch. And because this is the 14, you know, it's a little smaller. You're not going to put a whole lot inside. There is a spot here for your probe and for your shovel blade and for the shovel handle. And you know, there might be a little bit of room in here for other things like gloves and snacks and stuff like that, but not a whole lot more. This is kind of a very lightweight, keep it minimal. You know, if you don't want much on your back, this is the backpack. So we'll close up the main compartment. And then on the outside here, you've got some additional storage. This is just a small spot for carrying small things, maybe your keys or your wallet or something. And then up here you've got a spot for your goggles, or a spare set of goggles, and it's got a nice wipe in there as well, so that if you need to clean your goggles, you've got a wipe. So with that, I'll put it on, I'll don it. And we'll pull the trigger. So to get access to the trigger, you can route this to the other side, but it's located right here. This is adjustable. You can actually take and lower this down, you know, to accommodate a different height. Some people might prefer the trigger to be up high, some people might prefer it to be low. I will say, of all the bags that I've seen accidentally deployed, it's been primarily the Klim bags. And I'm just not sure if these are positioned in a weird way, but usually it's when people hit a jump and they come down, and I think their helmet or something is hitting the trigger mechanism and deploying the bag. So yeah, once you have it on, it's good to, when you first buy your bag, pop it off, make sure it works. And so with that, here we go. That's pretty fast. And so I'm not as familiar with the Alpride systems here, but I think that in theory, this bag should auto deflate after so much time has passed. And I don't know how much time, but I'll set the bag down and then we'll watch its behavior after it's been deployed. We'll set that right there. I'm going to grab my other bag. And just for comparison's sake, we'll do the same with this bag and see if there's any differences. They are two different systems, the Alpride versus the Jetforce, and I'll be curious. So again, with this one, it is a pull style trigger, but then at the end of it right here, there's this little red button, and you just press and hold it, and you'll hear a very audible startup of the fan. And at that point, you've got a green little indicator right here that's going to flash. That means it's armed. And at that point, you can pull it. You can hear the fan still on, and it's just maintaining a certain pressure. And it's going to do this. It's going to do this for about, I think, 3 minutes. So now the Pieps fan's turned off. It's slowly deflating, but at some point it's actually going to reverse the fan and pull the air out of it. This one's starting to deflate as well a little bit. Something to keep in mind, if you run a radio with a mic, an external mic, you want to make sure that the cord is long enough so that when you do pull the bag, the cord can go to the side and not, you know, disrupt the whole inflation process. But this one, the Pieps, intermittently is coming on and bringing the bag pressure back up. The Klim bag has not done that. It's doing a pretty good job of holding the air that it has. And then at some point here soon, the Pieps bag for sure will deflate. I'm unsure about what the Klim bag is going to do, so I'll be curious. Yeah, so that's interesting. So again, the idea behind that is that it's going to give you a whole bunch of extra headspace. You know, imagine you're in compacted snow and that bag now deflates and you've got a lot more room around you. And so in theory, it gives you a little bit more breathing room. It gives you room to move your arms, maybe grab your radio and communicate with your buddies. Let's hang out for a minute and let's see if the Klim bag does something. But I am unsure that it does the deflation part of it. I know that on the fan itself, you have to manually get in there with your hand and turn a special valve that allows the air to escape. And so that might be one difference between the two bags, is the ability for it to deflate. We'll give it another minute, see what happens, and maybe I'll fast forward through this part so that you're not hanging out watching me in the bag here. But yeah, I guess after we're done here, then I'll go through the process of repacking the bag and I'll show you what that looks like. It's very simple, and on some of them they actually have some instructions on the bag and how you're supposed to repack them. I don't think it's going to auto-deflate. Just to continue giving it its chance, I'm going to start stuffing my bag, the Pieps bag here, and kind of show you what that looks like. What I'm going to do, I'm going to bring the zipper all the way over to the other side, and we're going to start the zipper. That's really the trick, is starting the zipper so that as you stuff it, it's got a wall, it's kind of somewhere to go. Slowly let out the rest of the air. And then for this bag, for the pipes, once you start to finish off the last little bit, you bring the zipper down here and you hide it, and it's got like its own little keeper. And then right here there's a clip that you'll use, and that just snaps on like that. And so at this point the bag is ready to be deployed again. And you know, I've still got a green status light that's flashing, and I think if I press it once it'll show 3 blue bars, and so that's about 75% battery. So again, I could probably deploy this 3 more times and it would be fine. So looking over here at the Klim bag, it still has not auto-deflated, and so I think that's going to be one key difference between these two bags, is that auto-deflation process. And so I'll now go through and stuff this bag back. Again, with this, you're going to open it up and get to the fan compartment. And try to do this one-handed. Okay, so Klim on this bag does actually have a process for folding in the wings, and we'll follow their guidelines. And before I do that, we're going to start the zipper over again. Okay. And then now we can pack the bag correctly. I'm just kind of following the creases that were on there. you get to a point where you kind of make those folds that they recommend in the manual, and then you just sort of stuff it back in. And flip this around. They have this nice Velcro patch that once you close this spot, there's part of the zipper that's red here that will not actually zip closed perfectly. Maybe it will, but right away after you finish zipping that, you want to put that Velcro patch over it, and that's just going to help keep that weak spot closed. And then you just finish off the zipper. And at this point, I'm going to turn the pack off. Close everything back up. I did notice that the pack, just deploying it the one time using just the capacitor and no AA batteries, brought the battery life down to about 1/4. And so without AA's, you get maybe 1 or 2 deployments. Really, this bag, really, you need to be carrying AA's. I think it takes 2. And so I would carry 2, and I'd probably look and see if the manufacturer has a recommendation. They might require you or recommend that you use a lithium battery. So just be sure, check out the manual, and I would carry spares. And so if you notice that your battery life is getting low, it's pretty easy just to carry 2 extra AA's. All in all, I'm very impressed with this bag. It's quality made. You can tell all the zippers on it, nicely made. And again, this is the Klim Atlas 14. They do make a larger, I think 26, and this is kind of their light, quick and light, fast bag. So well done, Klim. I like this bag a lot. Yeah, so I'm glad I did this review just to kind of show you the differences between the 2 bags. And if you're somebody that wants versatility in the size of the bag, the Pieps might be your bag of choice because you can interchange those shells. If you are somebody that likes the versatility of being able to charge your bag on the mountain with just 2 AA batteries and not have to worry about wall chargers, the Klim bag might be your pick. Both of them have their differences, like I had shown with the auto deflation, but aside from that, I think they're both going to do their job. And so, yeah, well done Pieps, well done Klim.